Today I thought I would give this kind of video a shot. It's gonna be kind of a little weird for me, but I'm just gonna try it. But I have a bit of an identity crisis. I generally find myself enjoying Gothic fashion and Gothic culture, but I am very self-aware of the following fact. I am not goth. Pretty sure I'm not. Now, I'm not sure what the qualifications are exactly, but I'm pretty sure I don't meet them. For example, I don't listen to goth music. I mean, I did and do like Project Records and the bands that are on that label. And you know, I like the typical mainstream tunes I've heard by The Cure and Joy Division and things like that. But I'm not well versed in the genre at all. I don't think I could hold a conversation with anyone about this subject. See, personally, I listen to metal and industrial synth pop, stuff like that, which overlaps with the goth culture, but that is debatable. Another reason why I'm pretty sure I'm not goth is that most of the time, well, I look like a normie. I'm either at work, I'm at home, or I'm exercising, or just running to the grocery store. I mean, there's not ever really an opportunity to get dressed up. The only reason I look like this right now is because it's Friday night. Surprisingly enough, I'm not living in a Gothic castle somewhere, furnished with red velvet sofas and thrones, decorated with black candles, and I'm not getting ready to go to my local goth club tonight. Thought I'd be at this point in my life by now. But what does it really take to be goth? In school, it's just a word you slap on to any of the classmates who dress in black and don't run with the popular crowd. It's really the label you slap on anyone who's alternative. And I guess, honestly, I would classify myself as alternative, but I don't know what kind, or, you know, I can't get specific. But when I was in school, this was definitely the label slapped onto me, but I was like, that's cool. I really did admire the goth subculture, but as a high schooler from a strict household living in the rural deep south, I mean, how far could I get? How much could I learn? Growing up, I still have never been to a goth club. I so want to. And I had never been to a concert in high school. I didn't go to my first real concert until college. And like my big events were when I got to go to the neighboring city and go to Hot Topic and FYE. Anyway, I guess I could theorize about what I classify as all day. Who really cares? I don't know. I just know that I like gothic style, some gothic music, and just general facets of the goth culture, gothic YouTubers, although technically I guess I'm more metal in here. I don't know. But anyway, I'm just dark, okay? So this video is going to be a journey tracing my steps of my original descent into darkness. And by darkness, I mean my style. The reason I'm here making this video in the first place is because I saw Angela Benedict's video about her turning goth in the 90s, and she showed pictures of her as a teenager experimenting with her style and taking those cheesy photos and stuff. And that really just warmed my heart, and it made me feel nostalgic, even though my path was not the same as hers. In many ways, there were some similarities, and it just made me want to revisit my descent. It made me think about my own path into becoming a goth wannabe. Okay, so let's start with middle school. In middle school, I tried the popular route, and it didn't work. So I finally gave up and decided I was going to be like the pop punk skater type of girl. And that was working out, except I couldn't skate. So anyway, the style was working out. But then I moved to a new town right before I started 9th grade. And I do remember going back to school shopping with my mom. and all the clothes I was going for were black. You know, just like a black shirt, another black shirt, black blouse. And I just kept picking out black, I wasn't thinking anything of it. And my mom was like, "Are you turning goth or something?" The thought had never crossed my mind. I didn't even really know what that was. But hey, good idea, Mom. So I was already into makeup by the time I had arrived in 9th grade, and I was already convinced that having as much black around my eyes as possible increased my beauty exponentially. Grade 9 continued, and at this time, 2002, rock was the mainstream. So I was consuming a lot of corn and Disturbed and AFI, stuff like that. I had also randomly found a few bands in middle school like Mudvayne, Kitty, King Diamond, and even Cradle of Filth. Like I stumbled upon a few of those randomly, so I didn't quite know how they were connected to a greater world, but I did carry those with me into high school as well. I started experimenting with my hair color a little bit, and this was before anyone at my school was doing that. So I started I put some blue in for a while, and then I put some pink and some red. Apparently it really disturbed people. 10th grade was a milestone because I discovered metal. Maybe I'll make a video about that later. And also, Hot Topic. I know, talk your crap. Maybe I was a mall goth or something. But come on, don't we all look back on those strappy trip pants with fondness and nostalgia now? And yes, I did have some trip pants, but I also really liked trench coats, velvet, lace, dresses, skirts, a few vampiric influences when I could. But I was also a sucker for fishnets, chains, stripes, and before you continue to hate. Because of Hot Topic, that is how I discovered Project Records, and that's also how I discovered the larger world of metal through Century Media Records. Also in 10th grade, I got exposed to H.P. Lovecraft. I started spending more time in the New Age section of the bookstores, as it is so vastly named under this huge umbrella. And I thought one of the greatest acts of rebellion I could ever commit was reading Simon's Necronomicon from beginning to end. Boy, was I cool. Take that, society. And no, I never actually tried anything in the book. I wasn't that brave. The internet was present while I was in high school, of course, and it did have a bit of an influence on me, however, not as much as I feel like it could have had if I were growing up today. I mean, I sure did like MySpace. I also spent time on Vampire Freaks, and through Vampire Freaks, I learned about The Birthday Massacre, Diary of Dreams, Blutingale, and as far as I knew, that was goth territory. Like, I thought that was it. I mean, I didn't know the history at that time, but I felt like I was there. And thanks to the internet, I also became a bit of a selfie artist as well. Friends! Isn't it a wonderful thing to have freaky friends? I did have some freaky friends, a few. I also had a lot of regular friends, but it was always kind of fun to be gathered with a group of like-minded individuals. And in 11th grade or so, I was keeping my hair burgundy, and I was really focusing on incorporating a little bit of color into my black wardrobe. So sometimes I would do all red and black, and then some days I would do all pink and black. So I started to incorporate a little bit more of a childish air, a bit of playful femininity into the black. I still kept it weird though. I was still pretty weird. Now, some of you, let me just stop and say, some of you might be like, this girl's not weird, she looks regular. Well, where I live, this would be freaky. I would get stared at if I were walking around like this right now. Where I live in a very homogenous area. Even though I was incorporating a bit of youthful playfulness and femininity to my wardrobe, I still felt super duper scary. And then senior year, I kept my hair looking pretty normal. I don't know why. But I still kept trying to be as weird as possible, caking on the makeup and still listening to metal, still being into a bunch of weird stuff. And then I graduated high school and went on to college. And truth be told, I started phasing out the black and dressing more and more like a normal person. Now that doesn't mean that I was not still me. I had metal posters all over my dorm room, cheesy Halloween decor all over my dorm room. So I just let people assume that I was a normie upon first impression. Then if they made it to come hang out in my dorm, they'd be like, "This is your room?" But in college, that's when I finally started incorporating band shirts into my wardrobe. But even through my normal phase in college, Halloween was still a great time for self-expression without questioning. And now here we are. Fast forward to me here in middle age. Okay, just kidding, I'm not middle age yet. But now even more so, self-expression for me is a struggle. But I finally came out of my normal stage a few years ago. I dyed my hair black, I cut my bangs, which was crazy, and I got my nose pierced and got a tattoo. Those are all just small little things, but they were steps closer to me feeling more like myself. And I did start to reincorporate darker elements into my style and start to invest more in some pieces that were a little alternative. But today, as a grown-up or whatever this is, there are still hindrances to the dream level of self-expression. And some of those hindrances are still the same as the teenagers' hindrances, like money. Obviously, when you're a kid, you can't exactly scrounge up the cash to build up this amazing goth wardrobe. And now I'm a grown-up and I still don't have enough money to buy all the clothes that I want. When will I? When will I? But with being an adult, there are now new hindrances as well, like work. I don't want to look like a total freak because no one will want to hire me around here, or people won't consider me credible or professional. They're not going to trust me to represent their organization appropriately. I don't want to turn off clients and customers. Another hindrance is culture. Like I said, I live in the South. It does have its great qualities, but the South is very conservative, very homogenous, and they're afraid of things that they don't understand sometimes. Some people don't want to make any generalized statements, but typically our culture is a little bit more reserved and have a little bit less diversity. Another hindrance is family. When you're a teenager, you're not really thinking about what will grandma think or what will my mom think. You're just sort of more focused on yourself and just doing what you want, even if it's in a rebellious nature. And your family can also look at you when you're a teenager and be like, they're just a teenager, they're just doing their thing. But then when you're an adult and you're still in your phase, I feel like it's a jarring experience for my family to see me expressing myself. And I always feel like they're just wondering, is she okay? Another hindrance is time. The older you get, the much more valuable your time becomes and the less time you have. I rarely have time to sit down and print myself, and if I do have free time, I'm using it to do something else productive. And that means much less time to experiment anymore. But I'm hoping that YouTube will continue to be an outlet for me, and I do go to a lot of concerts and conventions, and of course there's always Halloween. And then the final hindrance I want to discuss today is shyness. It's kind of a tough thing when you don't want to be in the spotlight, but you want this look that is loud. But look at us. This is me and Zach. We don't really look that crazy, do we? Well, around here, we're like total freaks. Everywhere we go, people are staring at us. Especially Zach, because he has long hair and this beard, and they're wondering, is he famous? Is he Jesus? Or is he here to kill us? I don't know. And then with me, I don't really know what people are thinking. They probably think I need Jesus, but I'm walking around with Jesus, so maybe we're okay after all. I know we don't really look that crazy, but given our environment where we live, we do stand out. And it is kind of hard because I don't want to be in the spotlight, in the center of attention. I just want to go eat my dinner or go see this band or, Anyway, that was a review of my descent, my journey, my evolution into darkness, my Goth Wannabe story. Sort of a mishmash of poppy punk, metal, and goth, and hot topic, but just being a general weirdo because that's who I am on the inside. So where am I now? Just a confused adult who wants to be a vampire princess but looks more like a childless soccer mom. But I know that what's important is not the label attached to your outward appearance or what style you associate yourself with, but at the same time, self-expression is really important. It's a good outlet for everyone to have. And it's wonderful and it's fun. And I'm trying to find ways to do that every single day because life is too dang short. So I'm trying to focus more on just being me and just have faith that the people around me are gonna accept that and like me for who I am. So, attention viewers, if you have made it this far, then take this advice. Whether you're young right now or you're a grown-up right now, just do you.